Um, you may have heard of him. You may like him, hate him, debate him, argue with him. Excuse me. Gotta bear with me. I have like a bad throat right now. I might be coughing a lot, but nevertheless, you may have heard of him. Chaotic Truth. He's he's an African. He's African. He's a legit African American. So he's probably born in Africa, lives in America, or his parents are African, but he grew up in America. Nevertheless, he's a legit, an actual African American, and he really goes against the way so-called, blacks, the so-called Negro. He goes against the way they behave and have been behaving, which at first, when you hear him, speak about it, you're like, what the heck? And then after a while, you agree with some of the points he makes. You agree with it, and he's right, but you know we may like love our culture, our race, and things like that. So it's kind of like you don't want to say the truth because sometimes the truth hurts. But he's right, and I've always kind of wondered and sort of felt that way with like him regarding the so-called blacks. And the truth is, they're like this. They're like this almost everywhere they go. Almost everywhere they go, they're like this. And when I say like this, their behavior. We all know what it is, what it's about. And every time, I'm not saying it's all of them, but majority of the time, it's them, and I've seen it firsthand. I haven't had anything extreme because I tend to just keep to myself and stay away from it all. But you hear it on the news, you see it in school when you're in school, you see it outside on the streets. Like they all behave. Oh, again, not all. But sometimes I'm gonna say all, but generally speaking, that most of them just behave the same. Like what's expected, and it's like you're fed up and you're tired of it. Excuse me. When I was younger, I've always wondered why. I've always wondered why they behave the way they do. I just didn't get it. Like, why were like the children, the so-called black children specifically, why do they all behave like this? Why are they all so rude and so obnoxious? Like, I just never understood it. And you just asking and asking, and then certain people, a certain sect will say that we're cursed, and this is why. And at a time, I couldn't find out why, but seeing that the so-called black man is cursed, it made sense. Because, like, what else could it be? But then after a while, it's like, yeah, that's kind of bullshit. But tell the truth, he's right to an extent. He's not like an aggressive speaker. He's not aggressive. He says it like it is with a nice, calm voice. And a lot of us are fed up, not just other so-called Negroes, But other nations, other races are fed up. This is why, we're looked down upon, because of the way we behave all the time. It doesn't even matter. Sometimes it doesn't even matter our status, our income, or where we are. That we all, no, I don't say, I hate saying we, but they always tend to behave a certain way. And it's like, you're just so fed up with it after, I've been fed up as a child, but now it's like, come on, again? Like, why are they always all the same? It doesn't matter where you go. Could be another inner city, major city, suburbs. It's the same thing. Why? Why? And especially in some of these other major cities, in the U.S. specifically. Like, there's this guy on YouTube that goes around traveling different major cities, and you see how disgusting these major cities are. I'm talking like Philadelphia, Baltimore, right, places in Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, Indiana, you name it. These places are just so run down and disgusting. And do these people not see how their environment is? They can't see that. They can't see the stats. That this is because of you. You are making these choices. And, they're always going to have to want to blame someone, except for being accountable for themselves. And I think that's what it is. They just don't want to be accountable for their actions. Always want to be blaming someone. Blaming government, police, and all that. It's like one of those bait cards. And I think there was a story of like the government like leaving guns somewhere. I mean, you make the choice to take that car. You make the choice to take those guns and shoot. You don't have to. But you keep falling for these traps over and over again, but then you want to blame someone else. Man, these people, they lack accountability. Sorry. They just lack that accountability. Always want to play the victim and use the race card, which may be a factor, but I think due to, consistent, horrible behaviors, it's like, it kind of makes sense why so many nations like hate us, because look at us. Look the way we behave, man. They put a gun in the alley. You're going to still take it up and shoot. Like, why? You're not doing anything for yourself. You're not doing anything for your community, for your family. You're destroying your home. Over and over again, making these horrible choices. In school, your job in school is to learn. And they come in, the stories that I've heard, they just come in and create a ruckus. Learn, get out, become something. But they rather just be the filth that we see every day. Hey, I don't like this system any much as anyone else. Like, I'm really anti-government and all that stuff. I don't really worship countries, or I'm not religious, but it's about survival and adapting and making choices and thinking. But overall, in the so-called black community, it's not there. They can't be accountable for themselves, always blaming someone else, falling for baits over and over again. It's their behavior, man. People are sick of it. It's sickness, man. and I know I'm all over the place, but that term black community, man, I don't feel like I'm part of it, because I'm on a whole different level. Why would I want to stay on this community, this ship that's like going down, and no one's learning? Doesn't make any sense. Why would I want to be part of this? For what? For what? Reparations? What reparations tells me? I once, thought it would be because of religion or a cult. I thought reparations would be a good thing. But what reparations does, it still, keeps you in a position of a slave. It keeps those in power in power. You're there, taking their money with their faces on it, and you're gonna, say that, this is good. That's stupid. Excuse me. Sorry about that, but yeah, you're gonna take their own money with their faces on it that they own, their own money that they can take anytime they want, anyways. And they're gonna give you hundreds, millions of it, and you're gonna, be satisfied with money. That's it. You don't want power. You don't want more control. You want your own nation, own country, own land. you just want money. That's gonna make you happy. And reparations wouldn't do anything anyways. I don't think it's a solution. All it is, it's another. To me, it's just another problem. Because we already know how these people behave. I mean, you give them millions of dollars, what are they going to do? Like Dave Chappelle says, they're going to give them money right back. Wouldn't make a difference, man. Look at them. They're in a filthy state. They're in a filthy state. Filthy state. They're going to give them millions of dollars. What is that going to do, though? Like, they're still in a filthy state. What needs to be happened, they need to change their ways. Change their behavior. Change their environment. Their community, their so-called black community. But they can't do that because another reason why they can't do that is because they always need a leader. They always need some leader to tell them what to do. Because a lot of these people individually, they can't be accountable for themselves. They can't think. They can't critically think. That's why they are in the state that they're in. And it's been so frustrating. I've been frustrated since the 90s, guys. Maybe the 90s. Maybe early thousands. I've been frustrated. Frustrated. What was I going to say? I had a thought I was going to say. Oh, man. I exactly forgot what I was actually going to say, but yeah, this reparation thing doesn't work. Oh yeah, leaders, that's what I was going to say, leaders. And it's just like, why do we need leaders? You can't even lead yourself. You should be leading yourself. No one actually needs a leader. What? That's stupid. And that just keeps you as a sheep, as a slave. You need another leader to do what? To do what? That's to manipulate you, take your money again? You can't even lead your home. Look at your homes, guys. Not all. But so much dysfunction, and you want a leader, some guy you don't even know? That's another thing, and it just baffles me. Martin Luther King, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. They get shot, and allegedly they get shot and killed. And that's it. They just give up. They just give up. They have these two leaders. They get killed and they give up. Where's the other leaders after? What are they doing after? They just give up. They cry, they mourn, and they just move on. Where's the other leaders? What are they doing now? They're not doing anything. They're not continuing. They're not continuing. The legacy, the solutions. They're not even doing that. Malcolm X goes, Martin Luther King goes, they just give up. This is, it's so stupid, man. This is why they're in the state that they're in. And what did Malcolm X and Martin Luther King actually do, though? Like, what solutions did they do? Other than speeches. And it's no different from today with a lot of these YouTubers and the black community. All they want to do is hear people speak. And they feel good. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, they were good speakers. And the so-called black community thinks, listening to them, it's a solution. It's good. They get hyped. They feel good, and they think like that's it. But no solutions. Nothing. Martin Luther King, could only have a dream. He could only have a dream. What about reality? No solutions. Did they even provide any solutions? Maybe they did. Or is the actions? Nowhere. But at least I can say and give credit to the Nation of Islam, even though I don't agree with them. The Nation of Islam, they're doing something. But overall, the so-called black community, it's horrible. And you compare it to other nations, it's horrible. Not all of it. There's some good parts of it. It's horrible. You're leaders. You got 2 leaders that died in the 60s, and what now? You just give up. You cried, and what next? What next? All they like to do is listen to people speak. That's why they're in the state that they're in. They like to listen to people speak. No solution, no action. You fall for these baits. Want reparations. You can't lead yourself. Leaders gone, and you just move on. Oh man. How about the Caravanas, these festivals. Usually the one in Toronto, Caravana. I'll talk about this for a second. Like they say that this is a way of celebrating our culture. It's disgusting. Dancing like half naked is celebrating your culture. That's just, it's so silly. Dancing half naked in the street in public, that's the way of celebrating your culture. It's so stupid. And this is more Caribbean, I guess. But it's still stupid. You're going to dance half naked to celebrate your culture. Like, what the heck? Who does that? Who was doing that back in the day? And the only reason why it's sponsored by these major companies and corporations, because it keeps you people asleep. You're not gonna ask questions. You're not gonna ask questions or find solutions. Your whole lives are shit and filthy, but you think dancing in the street half naked is a solution? Is celebrating your culture? It's so stupid. That ain't culture, man. That's some bullshit. Bullshit. I don't care if any other cultures are doing it too. I don't give a shit. All of it is similar. Like these like Latino whatever countries, they do the same thing. It's not exactly the same, but it's the same thing. They're dancing half naked. This ain't culture. I think some of the Asian countries have adopted it too. This ain't culture. This is secularization. This is sexualization, man. This ain't culture. This ain't a solution. Look at the state that they're in. It's no wonder why so many nations hate the so-called black community. It's no wonder why I look at them and I'm so frustrated. Look at them. They can't think, yo. They're a bunch of sheeples. They just go with the flow. Your leaders get shot and killed, and that's it. Maybe probably 300 years from now, you're still going to be worshiping, Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and nothing's done about it. Nothing. This whole community is so dumb. I don't care. It's stupid. That's why they're in the shape that they're in. No accountability. No action. No solutions. Same old shit over and over again. Always waiting for someone to save them. Um, he had a video about Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. I didn't know much about him. All I knew he was created Dilbert, but Scott Adams made a good point. Like, he's tired of protecting black people or saving black people because they can't even save themselves. Even though there are a lot of nations that hate us, but a lot of nations that still try to support and grow and help us. But the so-called black community themselves, and they fail themselves. No accountability. They're still the filth. They're so filthy. Filthy, man. Filthy. And these so-called black community, they want to, do the kumbaya thing. Hold hands with every nation and be like, hey, I love everybody. But your own community, your own family, your own home, your own environment, your own streets are filthy and disgusting. No solutions. You have no leaders. You want reparations. All this crap. But you got nothing to show for it. And again, it's not all of them. But majority of them. Maybe it might be a small percentage, but we noticed that. There was a quote in Jackie Robinson movie with Chadwick Boseman. There's a scene where Jackie's with the manager, and the manager was like, you as a black person, if you do something, they're going to hear it more. If you do something, they're going to hear it more. The white guy yells, they barely hear it. The black guy yells, they're going to hear it. Not exactly the way he said it, but I understood it. And like I said, it's about survival and adapting. I know we don't want to give in and be little slaves and kiss ass, but at the same time, look at the state of the black community. It's horrible. I'm not saying to kiss ass. I'm saying to survive, adapt, be accountable for yourself. If you know people are going to hear you yell even though you're speaking at a low volume, adapt, change, know what you're saying and doing. Stop keep doing the same thing and then screaming racism. When you know you as a so-called black person, they're going to hear it more. And they hear it more because of your consistent behavior over the generations. They hear it more. They hear you yelling. They hear you whispering. Maybe that's a better analogy. They hear you whispering more. When white man yells, they don't hear it. But when you whisper, they hear it more. You gotta learn to adapt. Stop giving into the so-called stereotypes. Go to school, learn something. Don't be the typical Negro. Bringing that Negro shit everywhere you go. Talk properly. God, man. Walk with some confidence. I mean, I'm a little arrogant. I can be a little arrogant, but it's all about control. And not, becoming Godzilla, but control. I think a lot of great people, successful people are arrogant, but it's about control. Dwayne Johnson, he could be a little arrogant. Kanye West could be arrogant, but these two people, hey, they get the job done. Sure, there's going to be backlash and things like that, but they get the job done. So being arrogant isn't a bad thing when you can control it. And you can, like Kanye says, use your arrogance as fuel. But in the so-called black community, there's no survival, no thinking, no critically thinking. They don't know how to play the game, So you got to play the game. I'm not saying kiss ass and become a house Negro, become a Sambo, things like that. But come on, man. Play the game. Help your community. If you want to help the community, help your community, but help yourself, your family. Look presentable. But instead, look at the state of the black community. I'm sure we could say, oh, other communities are worse or as bad or whatever, but I'm not talking about them. And like I said, your whispers, I hear them a lot louder. Unfortunately, that's the case. And I think that it's not just me saying this, but a lot of people, even their other so-called black people, are black fatigued. Other nations are black fatigued. They're all fatigued. So it's like, I'm not wrong. I may have a different way of saying it. Chaotic Truth may have a different way of saying it. Everyone else has a different saying. Hey, at the end of the day, we're all this so-called black fatigue. And some of you so-called black fatigue people are probably still the same problem too. You're probably causing problems too. You got to check yourself. Check yourself. I've been checking myself as a child, Always checking myself, always changing, always adapting, knowing what mistakes that I've made. Become aware of it. Be accountable for my actions and what I've done. A lot of the so-called black community, man, there's no accountability. They don't check themselves. They always want to blame someone else. They need reparations. They need a leader. They want to dance half naked to celebrate something. It's horrible, man. People are sick of it. That's why people like Chaotic Truth, exists. Even though he's a legit African American, he's sick of it. Even some of these, Africans, they don't even like the so-called Black America. They see them as horrible. Not all of them, but they see them as horrible, and I get it. Even other black people hate other black people. Man, you guys got to do better, man. I mean, I either could, the way this is coming out, man, it may sound horrible. It may make me seem like a sample or some kind of thing, but the truth is I'm just tired of it. I keep to myself. I don't join any cliques or community or desperate for anything. I see what I see. I say what I see. And I've been sick of it since I was a child, too, mind you. Sick of it. Since I was a child, man. I won't say sick of it as a child, but I've noticed it at least. I've noticed it. And it's till now, it's the same thing. How hard is it just to be presentable? Speak right. I'm sure you speak right, things may still happen, but you'd rather be filth and that things happen rather than, be a outstanding person and then let it happen. See the black culture community, they don't think, man. They're so weak and lazy, man. They're lazy. Again, not all of them, but a lot of it just comes from laziness. That's why they wait for leaders like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Obama, Dr. Umar Johnson, a lot of these YouTubers. They sit and watch these videos and act like they're doing something. They ain't doing shit. You're just watching a video. Or you're watching a video and donating to that person. No solutions, man. And the best solution is to keep to yourself, man. One of the best solutions, or the first best solution, is keep to yourself, know yourself, man. Everybody wants to keep mingling with people over and over again. And what has that done? When none of you know how to check yourself or are accountable for your actions. You got a group of people where none of them are accountable for their actions. And you get what you get. Yeah, I'm just sick and tired of the so-called black community thing, man. Sick of it, man. Things I've seen on YouTube, I see most of the things I see it on YouTube. I won't lie. Because I keep to myself, so I don't know exactly what's happening in real time. But it's happening. It's happening. Wherever these so-called black people are, it's happening. That's why I think they've been taken advantage of for centuries, because they were just so easy. It was just so easy to manipulate. And I think it's always been like this to a degree, a little minor degree. I think there was some community back in the days and the centuries, but how'd you been how to be conquered like this for this long? You know damn well that you were manipulated and you got played. You got played. Couldn't think. And still today, that's what we're seeing. It's like that old saying, there's nothing new under the sun. And what we see with this community, it is nothing new under the sun. Nothing really new. A little bit different, because of technology, all the other stuff. But, yeah, this is probably like nothing really that new. But hey, you want to dance half naked in terms of celebrating your culture, you're going to do it anyways. You want to act like filth, you're going to do it anyways. Your whole community, neighborhood's going to look like filth, you're going to accept it. Because you're lazy, you're a bum, you're a scrub. And when people like, I don't even want to say me, who am I? But when people like Chaotic Truth, say the truth about so-called black community, want to get mad at it. When you are probably the reason why it's in the state that it's in. If you can't even admit it, that's a problem. If you can't admit it, that's a problem. I know a lot of people are going to say things differently, maybe with a lot of intensity or whatever, aggressiveness. But at the end of the day, you have to see what the community really is. And I think if everyone actually sees it, that the whole so-called black community is filth, I think that will be the best first step of a solution. But a lot of these people are so ignorant, so blind. They want to protect and defend this community that has just been, horrible. It's horrible, man. Like, it's horrible. Like, it's not good. It's not good. It's the behavior, man. Everywhere you go, it's the same thing. But anyways, yeah. I doubt this video gets any backlash. It may get taken down to YouTube because, again, you gotta be like 100% positive with a community that's filthy. I don't want to. I speak the truth. I say how I want to say it. If I'm wrong, then hear me that being wrong. You don't have to be taken down. If I'm saying something that's humiliating or embarrassing, let me deal with it. You don't have to be taken down. And I'm going to say this one more time. One last time. The so-called black community, the Negro, specifically the one in America, and I'll say some of those in Canada, in major cities, some of those that are in the UK. Man, you it's like once your leaders go or die or whatever, there's nothing. You just like to hear people speak. You heard Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. You loved the way they spoke. Loved Obama the way he spoke. Talked to Umar Johnson the way he spoke. A lot of YouTubers speak. And that's it. And you think you're doing something. No, you ain't doing shit. You ain't doing nothing. Then you want to beg for reparations. That only keeps you in that position. You're gonna seek money from those in power to keep those in power. Doesn't make any sense. Don't you want power? Don't you want some control, some land? Hey, I want reparations. So they're gonna give you money with faces of themselves to you as a, token of apology. Like, what? Some of y'all don't even deserve it, though. Some of y'all don't even deserve a red cent. But anyways, I'm done. Let the lightning be your sword and the sun be your shield.